everybody. My name is Raffaella Sadun and I'm a researcher at the Center for Economic Performance. You've been selected out of a pool of 300 candidates. You are 20 people that are extremely qualified for this job. And at least according to your phone interview, you're also very motivated. And I hope that this will keep going throughout the duration of the project. Of all the projects that I've been doing so far, I think that this one, this public sector project, is one of the most challenging, but also one of the most interesting and potentially high impact projects. And I hope that this project is going to be interesting, it's going to be fun, and you're going to enjoy it. And that's it.
Management Matters started in around about 2000, in fact it started in 2001, when a bunch of consultants in the office who loved working with industrial companies got a little bit frustrated about what was then happening in the newspapers, where there were continual headlines about manufacturing in the UK is broken. Michael Porter from Harvard asserted that there's absolutely no evidence that managerial practice plays any role in driving productivity in the UK's performance. And I know you guys are going to be focusing on healthcare and education. If we can garner insights on what really makes a difference in terms of managing healthcare and help managers and in individual institutions or in economies get more bang for their healthcare buck, we'll be making a real difference, not just to the economics of those organizations, but actually to the most needy of society.
When we started with this, we knew that there were huge differences in productivity across firms. We saw this across countries, across industries. And we always intuitively knew that the management within those firms had to play a key role in that as well. But there was never a systematic way to actually measure and compare it. An increase of 1 point of our assessed manager practice score is equivalent to the same amount if you invested again 25% more in your labor or 65% more in your capital. So we know it matters. Even more so, we know this is something that the managers can actually do. And why aren't they making this change? And one thing that we also found very telling is that managers are very unaware of how well managed their own firm is. The reason we did Canada in 2007, the reason we did Ireland in 2008, the reason we did Australia in 2009 is because their government ministries came to us and said, we've read about this, we weren't on that original country list, we want to bring Management Matters here. Interviews over the telephone, all of them. All 6,000 were done over the telephone. No in-person interviews. We never lied to these managers. They know very clearly, as we'll talk through this afternoon, that we're having a conversation about management practices. We want to talk about their experiences along these 3 main areas of management: lean operations management, target or performance management, and people management. The final score you get out of here is the overall assessed management practice score for that firm. But that's not incredibly telling. What's more interesting and we're able to do is just compare the 3 areas across each other in the same firms and across countries. And as we go through, we need to always make sure that we're sampling the appropriate dimensions of those.
Et comment se structure l'actionnariat de la clinique? Qui la dirige? D'accord.
Nu är de glada. Det är nödvändigt. Man får ju extra stöd om man kan använda andra resurser också.
Sì, professor. Salve, sono Manzoni dell'Università di Londra.
Eben nochmal zurückgeht und schaut, okay, was wurde uns jetzt mal gesagt, was ist dahinter die Regulierung?
675 kids. Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, he's aware of why I'm calling him and everything like that. I just wanted to verify that before I called. Okay, thank you. All right, bye-bye.
The other thing we did with the manufacturing survey, which we'll do with some of the hospitals, is conduct a round of second or double interviews. That way we can wipe out any analyst-specific or manager-specific effects. All the interviews are double scored. Here's a second analyst, a silent listener. Then we can put these 2 scores across each other and find a correlation over 90%. And finally, managers are ensured complete confidentiality. And this is the other really key thing of what we do. Because they're sharing some very detailed and often very personal aspects of their firm or their hospital or their school. So they need to be ensured complete confidentiality. Really the key is getting these managers on the phone. It is by far the most difficult part of the project. You will have very frustrating days, we know right now.
Tschüss. No luck this time.
Und dann hin.
Grazie. Salve.
Questo qui mi ha parlato 10 minuti e poi mi ha detto devo andare in sala operatoria.
So what does make a phone conversation different from personal communication? Back table.
No, first of all, you got the lack of, the faculty of sight. You can't read body language.
You have to build up trust within like 5 minutes.
Yeah. What makes you good at interacting with people on a human basis?
Khan came up with Frank Sinatra's eyes. Was it voice? Voice. I said. Oh, that was for the phone. So I guess eyes for personal thing.
Yeah. What about your
contact,
eyes, Connor?
I guess. Yeah.
There's something special about your eyes?
They're not his. Frank Sinatra's.
Ah. You're essentially running your own business. You can get as many interviews as you can. No one's going to tell you what time of day you have to schedule. We'll just only block out very certain amounts. However many interviews you run is determined on how many interviews you schedule.
E stiamo cercando di parlare con i primari o responsabili di ortopedia come lei per avere appunto una conversazione sulle pratiche di gestione nel suo reparto e nell'ospedale dove lei opera.
They will immediately follow back with, I'm too busy. I completely understand that, sir. When would be a better time?
3 oder 4?
Mercoledì, le faccio uno squillo mercoledì. La ringrazio, buongiorno, salve.
So that'll be 4 o'clock for me, and that's perfect. I'll just schedule you in right now.
We first are looking for the cardiology unit and then the orthopedic unit. The reason we're doing this is so we have comparability across countries and across hospitals.
Guten Tag, Frau. Hier spricht Christian Stiefel von der Universität London. Frau, Sie sind Pflegedirektorin Ihres Hauses. Super.
What is the very first line on the majority of people's voicemail? Yeah. Hi, this is Malcolm. I'm calling in Butler. So you know their name. Hang up the phone. Take the note down of the name of that manager. When you call up 3 days later, ask directly for the manager. And let's see how we can get through the very tough receptionist who is me. Hannah, what do you have? Good morning, Massachusetts General Hospital.
Hi, can I be connected to your Department of Cardiology, please?
We don't have one of those.
How about orthopedics?
Don't have one of those either.
Where do you deal with heart problems?
Ooh, well, we have a surgery unit.
Could I be connected there, please?
Are you a patient?
No.
I really don't. What are you trying to get to?
I'd like to speak to a nurse there, just for some information.
But you're not a patient?
No, not at the moment, no.
So why do you want to talk to us?
Well, it's in relation to some research that I'm doing, and I was trying to speak to the person concerned, please.
Our hospital doesn't do research.
No, to research I'm doing.
Having a good morning so far?
It's going fine, thank you.
That's good to hear. Can I have cardiology, please?
We unfortunately do not have one of those.
Oh, well, how about orthopedics? Do you have that?
We don't really have separate departments here. We're pretty
Oh,
small.
all right. Well, that's fine. Can I just talk to the overall director of nursing then?
She's really busy. She never has time.
Does she have like an assistant and all?
Nope, that would be me.
Okay, well, can I be transferred to her though?
I told you she's busy.
Yeah, but does she? Can I have her voice?
If you keep it random and keep it on an impersonal level like that, they might be a little bit more open in the conversation, a little less held back. You're not like an investigator snooping for some juice or like.
And questions really matter. First, one question at a time. Bad, what percentage of people are highly related and how do you reward them? Better, what percentage of people within your hospital would you say are rated as high performers? Follow up, okay, how do you actually reward those people?
To what extent are you and the other staff members at the school using data to kind of, inform on planning and strategy?
And can you share with me a little bit about the school's vision for maybe the next 5 years?
Starting off very broad, getting a bit more specific, and finally direct. How do you actually coordinate this movement? Overall, do you questions are one of the worst to use. when you're trying to get valuable information. Because the do you question is often targeted as you should. They assume that they need to say yes. So better, how would you describe your goals? How would you describe your employee appraisal system?
Et donc il y a combien à peu près de docteurs sur le site?
I really have no idea. Okay, so that's when you give them the multiple choice. So are we saying like 10 or are we saying 50?
Would they ever suggest that, say with this incident of bullying, there might be a better way to handle it or anything like that?
That's great, Mom, and I really see why you want you to take your hospital that way. But if we could talk a bit more about goals, because that's what I'm really interested in hearing a little bit more about. Remember, for you, it could be your 10th, 20th, 100th. For them, it's their one interview conversation with you. The interviewee knows who you are and why you're asking these questions, which they do. They're more likely to be relevant in their responses.
Ring, ring. Good morning, Seattle Grace. How may I direct your call?
Hello, Miss Bailey, please.
May I ask who's calling?
My name is Kate, and I'm calling from the University of London. What factors led to the adoption of these practices? Is it only the quality of care you're concerned about?
Management is also concerned with cost and profit. It's really all about cutting costs without reducing that level of care, or even improving the level of care in that circumstance.
I mean, my initial reaction to this hospital is, relative to the hospitals I've spoken, this is quite a good hospital. It's really good. It's not up there with like 5, 5, 5, 5, but a lot of the questions were high 3s, 4s. Maybe a little odd too.
My impression was, as an average, was probably a bit lower than that. I felt that they were paying lip service to some things, but they were quite complacent about a lot of them.
That's true.
Do you think they're being proactive?
I thought so. Yeah. They were really determined.
There has been one change. Yeah, and it has nothing to do with the staff. I mean, it's not like leaving the industry, which would be 5.
I was coming down from 3 towards 1.
Okay. I'm keen to management decides, but sometimes asks.
We allow the flexibilities between analysts. It's okay, just as long as you keep the consistency.
About 3, we want there's a clear process understood by everybody and is adequately monitored. So we move to a 5, that is God heaven.
I just changed it. I think it's a 3.
I'm a 4, actually. Really?
You have to do what?
Your notes to go along.
You're typing in notes. I mean, there should be something in there.
Can I be sorry? I'm sure that the
Congratulations, we have conducted 1,215 interviews. Actually, yesterday was great. We conducted 45 interviews in one day. Mm-hmm. And we still need more schedules in the North American team in terms of hospitals and schools. Canadian hospital is the first team to meet the target at end August, 31st August. German hospital met their final targets, I think, this Tuesday. Yesterday, 4 sectors met the target.
Good. So the targets were too easy, that's it.
Everybody's entitled to some Germany right now to understand how the beautiful hospital landscape in Germany, what it looks like. What I find interesting is that although the private sector increased its share in the number of hospitals they own to 30%, they doubled it, the majority of beds in Germany are still run by public organizations or in public hands. The health insurance will pay the labor costs, which make up around 70% in the hospital, but they also pay per patient and all the materials you need.
Every hospital used to get money for every patient according to the amount of days he or she spent in the hospital. Now what they get is a number that is calculated. They put all the different indicators into a computer and it gives them a diagnosis-related group that they can calculate with. And upon that they get money. Obviously this strongly pushes kind of effectiveness and efficiency, and there has been this criticism that potentially it will also have a negative effect of, pushing out certain groups.
I've spoken to a hospital. They had a school for, particularly for teaching families to care for him, like nursing schools. That was sort of, I can imagine. I was thinking like, why do they do that? But that is probably like the strategy that they pursue here to teach them so that they can get sort of rid of the older people, like.
What do you mean getting rid?
Well, we had a lot of falls last year, so we now all give them socks with little rubber dots on the bottom. And so they do think about these things. These are things that nurses do implement.
There's one tariff or one union rate that allows to give bonuses to talented or performance-related bonuses to employees. That's 1% of the sum of the salaries of the previous year. However, the people we've talked to so far are reluctant to use that system. What they do, they use the water can principle. They just split the 1% among all employees because they say they're afraid that people will be jealous or envious.
Thank you very much.
It's a bit of a reflection on the quote that comes up almost every time that I ask, do you get a bonus? When they finish laughing, they normally say, none of us are in it for the money. And some people are almost a bit offended. There are some people who almost take it as a bit of an insult that you're suggesting that somehow they might have worked better if they did have a bonus as well. Knights and knaves, as comes from Hume, where knaves are the people who are kind of selfish and selfishly motivated, and knights are those who are kind of altruistically motivated. So what was striking about Bevan's story was that as soon as the signal was sent out that performance matters, and that maximising performance matters, patients, workers who'd already been in the hospitals were able, from one day to the next, to raise their level of service. And what that shows is that they weren't necessarily incompetent, they just weren't maximising the amount of good activity they were doing. It's not just enough about feeling good of good activity, but it's about maximising good activity that matters. And finally, just a thought that I have, it's a wild thought. I think as an experiment, it would be super cool to ask people what they think they should be paid, to kind of let them, to let people in cross-public services say, okay, there's public money that your wages are coming out of, take what you think you deserve, take what's right, and it would be super cool to sort of see what people would actually do. But that's really speculative and just fun, a fun question. So that's it.